Tip number 5, resumes. How to write them and should you rely on them. Look, resumes are pieces of paper. I have 2 right here in front of me. Okay, it says from Blackstone Consulting, Mr. Johnson brings over 29 years of progressive experience in the engineering and construction disciplines with property rehabilitation and new construction, maintenance operations, property management, and property assessment experience. Mr. Johnson is a technical expert who reviews. Who's going to read all this? I've had it on my desk for like 3 or 4 days now. Okay, you could do this on an email. You could do it as a document. You could send it. Selected project experience, educational professional affiliations, continuing education. Dude, this ain't going to sell any. This is not going to get you a job. Do you need a resume? Yes. Is this going to get you work? No. Who's going to read this? Stop the madness. This is crazy. Here's another one from Rebecca. She has 19 years of management experience. I don't even know if I'm looking for that much experience. Both of these start 19 years, 29 years, and 28 years. I look at these 3. Let's say I'm a young HR person and I have 2 years of experience. I'm like, I don't want to hire all these smart people. Put these to the bottom of the pile. Decision makers will never hire a resume. HR people can be intimidated by them. Okay, and most of them end up in a big file. When there's 20 million people unemployed, they just end up with a pile of about 25 of them. Listen to what I'm telling you right now. You need a resume. You definitely need a resume, and it should be professionally done. And it needs to handle everything. But decision makers do not hire resumes. They hire people. I'm never going to hire this. I'm going to hire you. What happens to you when you go in with a resume in front of an HR department, or it precedes you, is it can help you, it can hurt you. What happens when you're in the resume, when you're in the interview, and they're looking at the resume the entire time, they're not looking at me. They're looking at the resume. I want them looking at me, pay attention to me. I am the unique proposition here. Which of these 6 or 8 pieces of paper is different? They're all pieces of paper. Okay, how do I change that? I get in front of the person and say, slide that off to the side. Just look at me. I'll leave that with you. Get the person interviewing you to spend less time on the paper and more time on you. Unless, of course, you don't want them spending time on you, which we need to fix. Don't rely on that resume to tell your story any more than you would a PowerPoint to do the speaking for you. You know, there's an old thing in speaking, and I've had the experience now 30 years speaking to, I spoke to as many as 35,000 people at one time, all around the world, 19 countries, spoken to 12,000 people. 1,200 people is a small audience. There's a saying in the speaking world, the weaker the speaker, the stronger the PowerPoint. No offense, speakers, but the more time you spend on that PowerPoint, it says you don't know your material. I don't want the HR person or the decision maker or the manager just looking at the resume. I want them looking at you, or in this case, me, if I'm in the interview. I want to literally take the resume away from the person interviewing, and I want to make sure they're looking at me, in front of me, okay, so they can evaluate me. Number 2, if you're not in front of a decision maker, make sure you impress that person enough that they want to introduce you to this decision maker. Number 3, I want to impress the person in front of me. So even if they're not going to another person, a manager or a decision maker, they're like, God, I got to find a place for this person. I was so impressed. Even if they don't hire me for that position, I'm so impressed with this person, I got to put their file, their resume up front. I want the person I'm in front of paying attention to me because they are going to hire a person. They're going to pay a person. They're going to have a contract with a person, and you cannot do that with a resume. You can't hire me via a resume. You can only hire me via me. Resumes are basically pieces of paper with symbols that should be well written, yes, and designed well, yes. I agree with all that. And you could pay somebody if you want to write your resume. It seems ridiculous to me, but you could. But no one's ever going to hire you because of a resume. They're much more likely to hire